Alrighty, time for the weekly weigh-in report. It's a pretty good report. Some of the numbers are a little confusing, I will admit, but for the most part, it's a good report. Last week, when I weighed in at 265.4 pounds, which is not a bad weight considering I used to weigh 380 pounds at one point. That's 115 pounds lighter. That's nothing to sneeze at. But I'd only made about a pound of weight loss in the prior week to that. This week, I've had a correction in the good range, in the good direction. I weighed in at 259.8 pounds. Now, that's a difference of negative 5.6 pounds. I'll get to the confusing numbers here in a second, but I'm guessing a lot of that is water weight because I did do a fast right before, the night before I weighed in, or the day before I weighed in. So the confusing part is for muscle mass and fat. On muscle mass, even though I did work out and did strength training, ate plenty of protein, I went from a 28.5% muscle mass to a 29% muscle mass, which in terms of straight pounds is 75.6 down to 75.3. So it actually indicated that I'd lost 0.3 pounds of muscle. I'm not sure if that's entirely accurate. I mean, as much as I was working out and I was getting an adequate protein, it seems unlikely that I would have dropped, but you never know. But the one that makes me pretty sure that it's just the machine's getting a little wonky on me and it is time to change it for a new one is the fat percentage. Last week I had a 35% fat rating or percentage, and then this week it was down to 34.2%. In terms of pounds, that's 92.9 for last week and 88.9 for this week. So to have actually achieved that, if those numbers are accurate, I would have actually lost 4 pounds of body fat in the last week. And, much as I'd like to pat myself on the back, I'm pretty sure I did not lose 4 pounds of body fat. So this is kind of a confirmation to me that the scale is not as entirely accurate as I would hope. It could be that it's just, the scale's over a year old now. Electronics sometimes don't last as well as they should. Could be just an indication that the scale was just never particularly accurate and I just didn't notice it until now. As we're starting to get into the more detailed progress, we'll say, where I'm not making big shifts anymore. Either way, I have decided it's time to change the scale. Having said that, it's going to be a while before I do it. I did a little bit of research on scales, and one of the things I found out about why some of these scales may not be as accurate as you'd want them to be is even when they do use bioimpedance to measure, which mine does, to measure your body fat, it's basically shooting the electricity up your leg, and as much as we might like to think it goes through your entire body and then figures things out, it doesn't. It goes up your leg, down the other. So, I mean, if you're having shifts in movement or shifts in body fat in just your legs, or muscle mass in just your legs, it's picking all that up. So to fix that problem, the two scales I looked at, and I'm not sure which of the two I'll get yet, was one from Tanita and the other was from Omron. I hope I'm pronouncing those names correctly. I'm pretty sure the Tanita one I am, because that's Japanese. I did study Japanese at one point, long ago. But they have a device attached to their scales that you pick up and you hold in your hands. There's two Tanita ones, both of whom have the handles that you measure through the hands and the feet at the same time. That should come up with much more reliably accurate numbers. The problem with these scales is the accuracy comes at a price. And I don't mean that in terms of data, I mean a price. These things are a couple $100. My scale, I think, was $69.99 when I first bought it. I think you can get it for a little cheaper now. But I'm willing to put in the money to get the more accurate scale because I would like more accurate readings. Having said that, though, I'm not just because I'm trying to go from my current job to my next job. I don't have a couple hundred. I think the one was like $300 just to plop down on a scale. So I'll save up for that, and when I get that money saved, I'll get the new scale. Until then, I'm pretty sure the weight itself is accurate, and overall, that's the bigger concern for me. Am I dropping weight? The other things are just details. If I'm seeing muscle mass, more definition, my body fat appears to be going away. I don't need the exact number. I can just be happy with the aesthetic look of it, the aesthetic changes. In terms of meditation, same old, same old. Exercise, I did mention I was doing a really better job of exercising. I cleaned up my room a bit, as I said I would, and I've rearranged it so that now that my steps, the plastic, those old school plastic aerobic steps, are easily accessible, and the dip station is easily accessible. I mean, where they're sitting, I can use them. So it used to be my excuse for not using them was, I had to rearrange things to make it so that I could put them out where I could use them. And it'd be like, I just want to get in a quick exercise session, and I would give my excuse for not doing it. Now I have no such excuse because they are where they are, and they can be used where they are. I am having to get used to the step though. The step up is up against the wall, and so I'm stepping into the wall. Now I know from having done it enough that I'm not going to hit the wall. I'm not going to put my knee through the wall, or I'm not going to ram my face into the wall. But there's still that getting used to it where you're like walking into the wall and you can see the wall getting closer. So diet-wise, I was also quite a bit better this week in terms of making sure to keep the carbs lower. I sometimes get a little bit too focused on net carbs, and that can cause your carbs to get a little bit more than you should. But I was a little bit more focused on that, and the carbs that I was getting tended to be much better carbs, like cruciferous vegetables and stuff like that. So overall, a lot of good progress this week. I'm very happy. I'm happier. Made some progress in the job front. I talked to the one manager at the other place that I was looking to get a job at, and he was saying that the position I want is coming open pretty soon. And I just came away from that conversation feeling pretty confident in my chances of getting that job. And it is the job I want, so real excited about that. Not much else to report in the last week. It's been kind of dreary here in Alabama. A lot of raining, a lot of gets real cold, gets real hot, gets real cold. But I'm still keeping a pretty happy mindset, so I'm pretty happy about that. So since I don't have anything else to report, I'll go ahead and wrap up this weekly report here. I hope that you're having a great week. I'll see you in a week for the weekly check-in, and I should see you tomorrow for my weekly vlog. So have a great week, and peace.